There is a public health concern happening globally right now that is as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And we're going to talk about it. And no, it is not your weight. And if you're new here, I'm Emily, and this is my twin sister, Sarah. And we have another channel called Keto Twins, where we talk about keto, weight loss, and other things like that, cook fun recipes. But on this channel, we're talking about everything else. Maybe a little bit of keto, maybe a lot of everything else. And so if you're into us talking about different topics, please subscribe and let us know if you want to hear from us about anything else. And before I say what this public health concern is, and before you scoff, it is actually very serious. And it is the loneliness epidemic. In the United States alone, recent studies have shown that about 60% of adults report feeling lonely at least some of the time. The loneliness epidemic impacts hundreds of millions of people worldwide, highlighting the need for comprehensive strategies to address social isolation and improve mental health and well-being. I think that we're moving along as a society who does legitimize mental health concerns, and I suffer from some myself. This is not exactly something that a lot of people talk about. I think that it's embarrassing for people to say that they're lonely because it's admitting to other people that you feel lonely and that you're alone. I think that 2020 really exacerbated this problem. And there was times where we didn't see our friends for a long time, and those relationships have never been the same since that. We only see each other. And you know what? It's like, do we count? Emily calls herself the ultimate friend. I know, because I'm extremely low maintenance. If you look at our call logs on our phone, it is literally just FaceTiming like 10, 20 times a day. And most of the time, because we have a business together. Right. We also have, YouTube channels together. And so we're constantly talking about that. But I am the ultimate friend. I don't require much. I'm like a plant. But there are some times when I would like to have other friends. Not like you don't count or anything, but that's how it came up. And how she called herself the ultimate friend. Because I was thinking to myself how difficult it is to actually connect with other people, especially since I'm not working in a normal workplace environment anymore. I don't see the normal people that I would see on a daily basis. I just see my ultimate friend. Right. And I've always worked for myself. For a long time, I ran a business reselling clothes online with my husband, and then he moved on to different things, and I moved on into this. And so I've always been doing my own thing ever since I was in college and left, and I started my business. So to me, this is normal for me. For her, it's not necessarily normal. She's used to a different vibe, an office vibe. We don't have an office. We just have her house to film in. So with the prevalence of working from home, and the fracture of common friendships, we have a loneliness epidemic coming for everybody, really. And we don't know what there is to do to stop it. Although, what? I'm sorry. Oh. And she touched me with her toe. My dog is right there. So there's a sock on it still, that EBDBs, According to this USA article, we are not health professionals, by the way, loneliness is detrimental to mental and physical health, leading to an increased risk of heart disease, dementia, stroke, and premature death. And so I guess public health leaders are trying to troubleshoot this now. But it's kind of a very personal issue. A lot of people, like Emily said earlier, don't want to admit that they're lonely. Right. If I say that I'm lonely or I want more friends, Emily, it's why? I mean... No, I don't say that. You do. I do not. You said why? I am the ultimate friend. It's a joke. I understand it. But honestly, nowadays we come as a set. That can be kind of intimidating for some people. What? 2 for 1. Yeah, 2 for 1. Buy one, get one free. We have always lived in a big city where we've commuted everywhere. I've commuted to elementary school. High school. College. And why does that matter? Work. Hundreds of hours, days of my life, weeks, years of my life spent commuting. But that's only the smallest part of it. Because I feel like it makes it difficult to find places to hang out with other people that you see on a daily basis. All of my high school friends never lived around me. Right. All the people I worked with, it was I worked downtown. It was after I got out of work. Way after. Right. I just wanted to go home. Right. And so does everybody else. Right. Everybody just wanted to get the hell out of there and go home. Right.
So it didn't lead to like a very social environment. Everybody was just trying to escape and go home. Where my husband actually grew up in a smaller town where everyone went to the same high school and everyone lived like a couple blocks away from each other. You could walk to each other's houses and stuff like that. And I feel like he made a lot more friends that lived around him.
Right.
And I didn't have that experience. So I always told like my parents, I just wish I had gone to like the school closest to us.
Right.
A lot of your friendships are formed in high school because it's like a common place that you are at for 4 years, right? And
you're all stuck there together.
You're all stuck there. And the fact that I was commuting an hour to and fro each way, I think really severed a lot of friendships from me. And
we did that, by the way, because the local high school to us was supposedly a bad school or not as prestigious as the high school that we ended up going to. So,
but I think a lot about high school is like who you're friends with,
right,
and like those relationships.
Right.
More intentional with relationships and like going to places to meet up with my friends and trying to be like finding a halfway point between all of us. And that makes it difficult. It's not convenient at all. So that's just some of my struggles with the loneliness epidemic. I have to be more intentional with my relationships and reach out often and be willing to travel to connect with those people.
Right. I think too, because we are solo, we're not solo, we're together, but like we work in a very specific thing. We actually have to travel pretty far to meet other YouTubers that are like going to,
or
creators that are going to learn about a specific thing. That's why we always try to go to Vid Summit, which is like a YouTube creator event. But then it's like you have to network with these people, and that can be difficult too if you're not used to it. You have to find people that are interested in the same thing as you are, and our interest, even though we are keto creators, is not necessarily keto. It's creating content, right? And so there's a specific niche of who the people are that you want to like, learn from and everything like that and associate with. And so you have to go to where they are. And that is true with any kind of person that you like want to meet. Like if you want to meet friends, it takes going to the same place repeatedly over a long amount of time to meet anybody, really. And once you do and you connect, then that may become a friendship that you will treasure or cherish or whatever. But, in our 20s, I started going out like to a club. And then Sarah ended up coming later and everything like that. But like I was going to literally the same nightclub in Chicago for years and years and years. And this nightclub and everything about it was like a specific type of music. It was like electronic music, and the same people would go every weekend. And that is how you meet people. It doesn't matter if it's a gardening club. It doesn't matter if it's a nightclub. It doesn't matter if it's a bowling club, a church, some kind of event where the same people go every single time. Maybe they invite new people, but it has to be like a gathering. That is where you're going to meet people that align with what you're interested in. And that's how you form friendships. Unfortunately, now I feel like most people are like off and doing their own thing. They're exhausted from work. They're sitting at home on their phones. And so it's very difficult. And that is why most people are lonely. There's also the lack of like what people call the third space, which is a place that you can go to for a very low cost or free that you can hang out with just to kind of meet people organically, which is kind of like the town square of, imagine like my husband always talks about Italy, that people in Italy, they like to sit outside and just kind of talk and mingle. And we don't have that in this country. So the idea of the third place, the third space, does not necessarily exist here anymore. So you have to pay to enter these places typically. And so that leaves a lot of people out as well. So being lonely is as dangerous to your health as being morbidly obese. And yet people don't legitimize it. And mental health is getting more important, but it's still not there yet. And people are embarrassed about this issue. So what is the solution? It's about becoming interconnected with your community. And you can do it online. We have a community, but will it ever take the place of like an actual in-person community? I'm not sure. I don't know. Sarah was into gaming, and her husband and Sarah have made a lot of friends that way who are in real life friends.
Right. And we've known them. I've known these people for 20 years, and all throughout the country, even world, I know people.
Right.
And so when I go visit a place, I probably know someone from the game, and it was like this common game that we played. Almost like a third space. We played together every, couple of nights. We were playing with the same people over years and years and forming friendships and stuff. But it takes time. It takes effort.
That's the thing that I think is the hardest part, is that friendship takes effort. You have to put effort into it. You have to reach out. You have to plan to see one another, or, you know, whether it's online or otherwise, or you're just going to go months, weeks, years of not seeing each other, and then it just becomes that way.
And there's some people that don't even realize that they're not reaching out, though.
Right.
And that can be frustrating for the person that always has to be the planner.
Right.
Always have to be done. How are you doing?
Right.
Do you want to hang out?
Right.
How you been?
Right.
And it's like, it feels almost like a one-way street sometimes, but it's also like that other person doesn't even know that they're doing it.
Right.
It can be a little exhausting for that person who has to be the one always making the plans.
Right.
So yeah, friendships are weird. You know, It's like people have their own lives and their own schedules, but there has to be a point when you make an effort to connect with other people.
Right.
There are also groups, like meetup groups, that you could join online that, you know, are for specific groups, like gardening clubs in your area. That would be really fun to go to if there was a community garden. I love that idea. You know, a lot of people in Chicago don't have their own gardens, but they have like a community garden that they go to all the time, and you have a little plot and you can grow whatever you want and share it with your neighbors and stuff like that. Like pottery class or a cooking class.
Volunteering.
Yeah. Or senior centers have events where they throw very inexpensive shows. They might not be the best. They might not be the best. But it's just about community building. So my mom is an active part of her senior center now with all of her friends. Mm-hmm. They all go together and get, you know...
Play bingo
and watch shows, and they have a good time. And it's more about the community. It's not about getting a Broadway experience or anything like that. But
I think that a lot of people don't realize that relationships take effort, and that's it. You have to put in the effort. I'll give you an example of something very simple that had a big impact, is that Sarah started giving away flowers in her neighborhood.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, it did have a big impact. Yeah. Sarah had a little basket on her fence, and it said free, and Sarah would make little mason jars, bouquets of flowers that she grew in her garden, and she just kind of put it out there. And honestly, I was surprised that anybody saw it, because it was right near her alley. Yeah. I didn't think anybody was going to like see.
I didn't want to have like a giant sign or anything.
But it was a tiny little thing. And so people started taking them as you walked by. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, Sarah started getting notes.
And people gave me like Christmas gifts and stuff.
They were saying like, this just put a smile on my face for the day. It's just so kind of you for doing that. It's like allowing yourself to like be a part of a community. That's where people see the value in you. Like, oh, this person's a nice person. No one that's a bad person is going to be giving away flowers for free. You know, they were like, hey, I'm going to stop by and say hello.
Yeah, someone left a note stating, oh, next time you're out and about, I'm going to stop by and say hi. And my husband was like, great. Because he's like mowing the lawn all the time and not.
Well, then Sarah's like outside getting like something.
Oh yeah, I was getting my mail and I had like pants with like, it's like the pants you wear when you're cleaning stuff. It has like holes in it. It's just like, I looked like disheveled. And this person's like, can I come talk to you? And I'm like, yes. And I have like holes in my pants. And, you know, she was just thanking me for the flowers because she was recovering from surgery. And it like brightened her day or whatever. And I just had like a lot of bouquets that I'm like, I don't want all of these in my house.
Right.
Like, I want to share it with other people. So I just love growing flowers. So if I had a bigger plot, I would grow enough to like give away at a community center or, you know, a retirement home, nursing home, or even like I've seen some creators have like events where they do like bouquet making classes and stuff. And I just feel like that would be very fulfilling to do. So someday if we have the ability to have lots of flowers, maybe we'll do that too. It's like you have to be intentional.
Right. You can't be desperate. I think that people can sense desperation, but and
neediness.
Yeah, neediness and desperation.
No one wants a stage 5 clinger.
Right. You can scare people away, but if you can get involved with some kind of community and that community,
commonality,
even if it's like fostering a dog or a cat, there's got to be like, or a rabbit. There's probably like little, like you could probably get into like different things where people are like, I can't foster a dog or a cat, but maybe you could foster a turtle.
You could go to a shelter and volunteer.
Right.
even though it's probably very difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult.
A humane society.
Yeah, you're going to have to put yourself out there. But the benefit is that you will feel instantly connected to a community.
Right.
You would be surprised when I was reading some kind of article where in the pandemic, people were really depressed because they were missing like certain interactions. And these were like casual interactions that people were really upset. They didn't even know that they were missing these interactions, but they were. And those interactions were like at the grocery store or when someone delivers your food and you say hello. All these little interactions that we are used to, or like opening the door for someone else. And it doesn't even matter.
They count.
They count. They count as interaction. When you have a positive interaction with someone, even if it's like you open the door for someone and they smile, then it makes them feel better. And so you wouldn't think that that would really affect people, but it does.
Mm-hmm.
And so imagine like how not having any friends does affect people if you're missing an interaction with like a delivery driver. Because we went to no contact delivery and most people are still doing that. It's like, but people miss those things now. It's dangerous to be lonely, but you also have to take a step to put yourself out there in order to get the reward.
And it's not your fault.
Right.
Like, I feel like a lot of people might feel like it's something with them. A
Right.
lot of people feel this way.
Right. 60%.
The majority feel
Right.
lonely, which means that you're not alone, and a lot of people are just embarrassed to
Right.
talk about it. Having more of a discussion about it and being willing to change it maybe is the best way going
Right.
forward, instead of everyone pretending like they're not. I don't know where I heard this topic being brought up, but it made a lot of sense to me. It was about how more and more people are into niche communities, and what I mean by that is not everyone is watching football.
Right.
Not everyone is watching The Real Housewives of Orange County. I'm just bringing up random things, but
There's so many
there was
choices.
mass culture that
Right.
people were a part of. But now that people, like right now you're watching this channel, there's a certain section of people are watching it, and you might never meet someone else that has watched
Right.
it, which means you don't have a lot of things to connect with other people.
Right. In common.
Like, unless you came to a meetup group of everyone that loves the Keto Twins, which I don't know if that ever will exist. It's hard to find other people that can be like, yes, I watch them too.
Right.
I love them. So it's hard for people to connect on a
A
very
micro scale.
a
It's
very
too spread out.
broad
Right.
scale. Like, for example, my mom loves
K-drama.
K-dramas, Korean dramas specifically. She's not Korean, but she started watching them, and she started watching hundreds of these different shows, and she was like just begging us to watch it.
Yeah.
Because she just wanted us to know something that she was really passionate about.
Right.
When we hang out with her, we're like, throw on one that you like, and we try to be interested in it because
But when Mom, if you're watching this, if you start a series on episode 7,
it's hard to get into it.
it's hard to get into
Yeah, no,
it.
it has to be like a new one that
Right.
you start together.
And she's like, "Do you like it?" I'm like, "I have no idea what's going on."
I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Mom.
We have to start shows together so
Right.
we understand it together. Anyway, so having niche, smaller interests can disconnect you from community.
Right.
If that makes sense.
So if you are longing for a community, you have to try to go where the community is. Like the first example that I can think of off the top of my head is Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Just because when you go and you look at her concerts, it's like a big deal. People are planning their entire year around this specific thing. It could be like that with anything, really. But when
Everyone's going to this trip.
she's very mainstream.
Right.
So it's like there's going to be a lot of Taylor Swift fans anywhere you go. And it's an easy thing to get into. You might be like, oh, I don't
everyone
like Taylor Swift.
in this
Even
stadium,
I like Taylor Swift now.
Yeah. Everyone in the stadium likes her.
Right.
So you feel this overwhelming sense of
Right.
these are my people.
Right.
And that's what everyone, the Swifties, love is
Right.
the community. I don't know how you bring that back. Not everyone is into the same things anymore. You have to go and seek those communities out and be active parts of and be positive parts of those community and find your tribe.
And if you can't find it, maybe you should start it. Whether that's a gardening club, a bowling club.
Bowling is fun.
I know.
Now they have bowling with drinks and food.
Well, the thing I love about gardening is that it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of time and it's over a long period of time and then it's like very rewarding. And so say you wanted to grow things to give them away or to, have a community garden where you
people
see
have garden walks where
Right.
they all walk through each other's yards and they, go through gardens and go through plants and plan their planters and containers and
give away plants so that other people can join in.
seedling
Anyway.
swaps
Yeah.
and all these sorts of things. But yeah, you have to be intentional, I guess is the point. If you're lonely, you gotta do something about it.
Right. So if you have any advice for people that are feeling that they're a part of this loneliness epidemic, please let us know in the comment section below.
We're part of it sometimes.
Yeah. If you guys want to see any other videos from us on this channel, YouTube thinks you will like this one. So why don't you click on it and we will see you over there.
And I'm Sarah.
And I'm Emily, signing out.
Signing out.